So it's been a while since I did a kind of unscripted vlog, and I really wanted to do this one, particularly for this game. Death Stranding, Director's Cut. Now, maybe just to go back in my history of playing this game, I actually played this on the PS4 originally. And I played it on the PS4 Pro when it came out on launch originally. And I got about 20 hours into it, and the only reason I stopped playing it is because I got distracted by something else. The disaster of backlogs. But anyway, so then they announced the director's cut of Death Stranding, and obviously kind of a mini re-release on the next generation consoles. And I said I would take my time, I would wait, and I would revisit this game. So I eventually got around to it, and I've probably put about 15-20 hours into it again. Now, I promised myself I won't actually get distracted this time around, and I haven't. And I've been really enjoying my time with this game. The reason I wanted to do this as well in a vlog style is because it's such a hard game to explain to anybody. Even I couldn't imagine anyone who had to write a review of this game. It's so complex to try and explain to somebody, and you know, if you're trying to say to them, what type of game actually is it, and you know, you get that off-putting statement that this is a walking simulator, and you know, when somebody hears that, they're like, oh god, this is going to be boring, this is going to be checkpoint A to B, and you know, there is a strong argument to say that's what the game actually is. I've gone through a bit of an open world burnout. I get phases of it every now and then, and I just really don't want to play anything open world, or you know, anything with my gaming has kind of changed somewhat, in that I can't stand games like some of the Assassin's Creed games or Far Cry games, because they're just such clutter, and they're filled with such, you know, pointless missions and time wasters. I find my time wasted, and it's just like, it's not really worth it. So that was my always fear of going into this game originally, or even getting back into it. But as I mentioned, it's such a hard game to explain, and it's a game that I feel relaxed playing. It's a relaxing game, and I play a lot of ragers. I play a lot of stressful games, as everybody knows. So it's a perfect type of game to play, you know, when I want to have maybe 2 or 3 cans and kick back, you know, after work on a Monday evening or something like that, you know, disconnect from social media and all that good stuff, and just, you know, wind down and play something like this. That's the type of game that this is for me personally. But that's not to say there isn't stressful moments in it. Everyone's going to laugh when I say this, but I played this game on hard. Yes, I am playing it on hard, and there is some challenging moments, and there is combat. There is combat in this game, and it gets more expansive as you get it further into it. The biggest, I suppose, if I was to suggest someone to try and give this another shot, now, interestingly enough, I was actually talking to Lame Dad offline about this, and he told me he put about 7 or 8 hours into it, and he couldn't really get into it all that much. But when I kind of restarted this game again on PS5, I kind of just did a little bit of research just to say what was the best approach to try and get into the real nuts and bolts of the game. And a lot of people recommended that don't hang around the first 2 chapters, just concentrate on the main missions, get through to them and get to Act 3, and then the game kind of opens out, and it absolutely does open out. It opens out twofold, and it's just like, basically, as I mentioned, this is a game about bringing deliveries. So you're bringing a delivery from point A to point B, but I suppose the interesting aspect of all of that is all the equipment you start to obtain, you know, the easier methods of doing it. It's got this real, you feel like you're building something, and one trip to another area and one trip to one area or another, it never feels wasted. So, you know, that's kind of just a ballpark feeling of the type of game. Again, really, really hard to explain to anybody what type of game it bloody is. It's so hard to explain. But what I would say is, yeah, the only thing is, I think as well, what can be off-putting for people as well is, you know, this game could eat hours of your time. Like, I know people have put 80 hours, 100 hours, maybe more into it, And then again, that depends really on your investment on such a type of game. If you're willing to drop everything else and just, you know, spend huge hours in this. But I've made a promise to myself that I am going to beat it this time around. Be prepared as well. This is Kojima at his madness sometimes, and especially in regards to cutscenes and stuff like that. Again, got a mega ton of cutscenes. Don't expect to drop in here for an hour and, you know, do a couple of missions and potter off, because could be a scenario where you sit down for an hour and you probably watched about a half an hour of cutscenes. Again, that might not be appealing to some people. Now, what I would say as well is, once you get further into the acts, they don't become as intrusive, I found. And I'm enjoying trying to dissect the story, albeit that Kojima mad element to it. You know, I'd recommend you want to be paying attention if you really, really want to, you know, get to the nuts and bolts and understanding what the story is all about. But yeah, maybe the easiest way to recommend this to somebody, if they did want to try something absolutely different is the word here. This is, again, because I can't even wrap my head around trying to explain what type of game it is to people, that's what makes it different. That's exactly what makes it different. And you know, I just can't explain that strange feeling I get when I'm playing it. It's something like no other game in a long time. I'm both relaxed, but I'm engrossed in it. And it helps me completely disconnect from everything. You know, sometimes as well, when you're running a YouTube channel, sometimes you forget, you know, to sit down and actually play the games. So this is the type of game that, you know, reminds me, this is why I make these videos, because this is my hobby and this is why I like gaming. And this is the type of game that made me kind of maybe remind myself a little bit of that. But yeah, I'm really interested to know other people's thoughts if they've played this game. And again, it's a love it or hate it game. It really is. But if anyone has willing to give it a genuine shot, now a genuine shot being at least step into 10 hours of the game before you know, passively judge it as you know, such a content filler, point A to P walking similar nonsense game. It does deserve a chance. And I think as well, when time goes by, I think some people might learn to appreciate this game more. It's aged really well, even though I know it's not that old, but it is. I think it's on the go since 2018, maybe 2019, originally from the PS4. So yeah, well, if you have a PS5 as well, absolutely getting the director's cut. It's one of the best looking games actually on the platform at the moment as well. So yeah, that's it. That was just kind of a really random off the cuff rambling video I wanted to do with Death Stranding. Again, I didn't feel a script would suit this, because this game, as I said, it's just so off the cuff and random. Trying to explain to somebody what it's like, you know, I didn't think a scripted video would work for it. But guys, yeah, as usual, if you like what I'm doing and you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to me, giving me a bit of support. And yeah, I'll talk to you in the next video. Wednesday, stay tuned. Got a big interview with the Cultic Dev, so we'll be back then. Talk soon.